what's up? Shane, Liberty Mining. Back down on the river, do a little prospecting. I think I might be in a decent spot. It has some pretty good indicators of gold. I'll show you what those are here in a minute. Today, I'm going to do something a little different. I have two fluid bed sluice boxes. I have the Bazooka Gold Trap Prospector version, and then I have, pretty sure it's the Explorer Grizzly Gold Trap. I'm going to do a little comparison. I'm going to run some material through each of them, kind of from the same areas. It won't be a perfect test on how much gold they capture or what size gold they capture or whatever, but it'll be good enough, I think, to give you an idea. I think they're both good sluices. There's things I like about each of them and things I don't like about each of them. I'll kind of go over those a little bit. I think I'm going to start trying to do more videos like this. I have quite a few different pieces of prospecting equipment, so I think I'm going to do different videos using each piece and kind of go over it a little bit. So I'll show you both of the fluid beds that I'm going to use today, and then I'll show you the area I'm working in and why I chose this spot. I haven't prospected here at all, so I don't know if there is any gold here, but hopefully there is. All right, I'll show you the sluices first, and then I'll show you the area.
All right, so here are some dimensions from the Bazooka Gold Trap Prospector and the Grizzly Gold Trap Explorer. So the Bazooka is 3 feet long. The Grizzly is just under 3 feet long. The Bazooka at its widest is about 14 inches, and it narrows down to about 9.5 inches at the trap. The Grizzly starts off at about 9.5 and narrows down to about 6.5. The trap on the Bazooka is roughly 9.5 inches wide, about 5.5 long, and is about 3.5 deep. The Grizzly is about 2.5 deep, 6.5 wide, and about 7.5 long.
All right, so those were the dimensions of both of them. Now we're gonna go over a couple more things down here on the river. They both have these handles right here. I actually didn't think this one did for some reason, but after looking, it does. Obviously, they're different sizes. One can handle more material than the other. The reason I bought the Grizzly was because I wanted the Bazooka Sniper, but by the time I decided I wanted it, they had went out of business. So unfortunately, you can't buy this one new anymore. That company's gone. But all right, let's go over them a little bit. So with the Bazookas, they just come down pretty straight. I mean, they narrow out a little bit down here at the trap, but nowhere near as much as the Grizzly. I do like that about the Grizzly. They have a bigger trap for each model in comparison with the Bazooka. This one's obviously much bigger, but this is the bigger model. One pro, I think, for the Grizzly that I kind of don't like about the Bazooka. So the way these fluid beds work is those tubes down there, they have holes on the bottom, and the flow comes in from the backside to the water scoop underneath, which I'll show you in a second, and then keeps that bed of gravels fluid, so the gold sinks and everything else gets washed out through here. With the Bazooka, it has 3 tubes for this size box. With the Grizzly, it also has 3 tubes for the smaller box, and they're longer also. So I think with more jets and smaller area to work in, I mean, theoretically you would think that this would stay more fluidized. I also like how this narrows down and then widens back out straight with the box. It also, if you look at it from the side, it flattens out where the trap is, so you can put a much bigger angle on the skid plate and your box will still be a little bit more flat than the skid plate, which with fluid bed sluices, ideally you want to run them as flat as possible. Obviously, if you don't have enough flow or enough velocity, you're gonna have to put a little more pitch on the box, but Ideally, in an ideal situation, you'd run them as flat as possible. The Bazooka is just flat, straight across. One thing I like about the Bazooka more is, if you can see, the material it's made of is much more dense and sturdy. I mean, you can see I can bend that really easy. I can't bend this at all. And another thing are the seams in the Bazooka are much more quality than the seams in the Grizzly. And you can see that mine actually have came apart on both ends. I need to put some silicone down those. So this definitely isn't a heavy-duty sluice. I mean, it's pretty. The material it's made of is pretty weak compared to the Bazooka. Go around the back side of them. The water scoop here at the bottom. Yeah, that's where the flow's going in, and it pressurizes those tubes up front. So you can see, you know, this one has the same amount of tubes as this one, and they're a little bit longer. So for the size of the boxes, you would think this one would have, you know, much more than this one. So I think that probably affects gold capture rates. Not sure, haven't really tested it, you know, in a testing environment, but I've caught pretty fine gold with both of them. I definitely, if I don't have the Bazooka set up pretty close to perfect, I have noticed I do lose that kind of fine sub 30 mesh gold. Another thing about the Grizzly is it has these little inspection riffles that are flush, that are cut into the skid plate, so they don't rise up, they're flush with the skid plate. I catch a lot of fine gold in these. I like that. Kind of lets me know I'm still on the gold, and it just catches a lot of the fines, super fines. One thing I did was I put some brackets on my Bazooka, so I have some legs to put in, makes it easier to set up. I couldn't do that on the Grizzly because this is just too thin, it would just rip it right off. All right, so I'll show you the area I plan on prospecting, and hopefully we find some gold to run through both of them. There's a stretch in the river here that has some really brown, rusty looking gravels in them, like this. There's some kind of drainage that comes through here, so it washes off a lot of the top stuff, so you're left with the older material there. And that's generally what I found the real brown, rusted looking material means, is just that it's old, hasn't been moved. I'm sure there's some other reasons for it, but that's kind of what I've figured out. But there's a lot of it here. And I think what happened is this little bar here, so all this, it goes underwater when it floods. And so I think a lot of the lighter stuff has gotten washed off from the edge of the bar. But you could see, you know, the material is, there's a lot of older looking material here. And I like to see that when I'm prospecting. I've found decent gold in material that looks like that in the past. So here's another little area where you can see a lot of that red, rusty color material. And it's easier to spot in areas like this because there's drainage that comes down and it washes the lighter stuff off. But there's some, you know, black sand visible in it too, which doesn't always mean there's gold, but just try to look at the areas, find the best kind of indicators, give you the best shot, start looking, and then go from there. Still got to test, still got to pan, but you can see the rocks. They're old. There's a lot of quartz in it. This all came from way upstream. But this is what made me pick this area out. I actually saw it from the other side of the river. I was working over there in my last video, and decided this trip to come down here and check this side out. It was a pain to get in because there's really no trails down here, and you just kind of have to bushwhack your way through that stuff. All right, I got some prospecting to do. Hopefully I find a couple decent spots, and then I'll get the sluices set up and start running. Setting up a sluice is going to kind of suck here a little bit. I think I could probably get them set up down in there somewhere. All the flow is kind of out away from the bank, and I just have rubber boots on this morning. I didn't bring my waders, so I can't really get out there too far. But hopefully I can get them set up pretty close together, because my plan is to just run a bucket through one and then the next bucket run it through the other, and just keep doing that throughout the day. Try to run the same amount of buckets. I brought 2 baggies for the concentrates from both sluices, so I'm going to clean them up separate and we'll see what the difference is. All right, I'm gonna get to work. I'll turn the camera back on when I find a spot. All right, so I've prospected up and down this section I wanted to work, and there was nothing. There wasn't even any black sand. So just goes to show you that you need to really test an area before you start trying to shovel it into a sluice, because you might be digging stuff that has no gold in it. But this is the best pan I found. It's really not that great of a pan, but it does have a decent little piece and a couple other small ones, so it's better than what I've been finding. So I think I'm going to run at least a bucket's worth through each of the fluid beds, and we'll see what we get. I don't expect much, but there's really not many other spots around here where I'm at to prospect for material to run through a sluice. All right, so that's 5 buckets through each sluice. I'm gonna do a cleanup. This wasn't really a test to see which one could catch more gold, but we'll see which one got the most. This was more just a comparison so you could see each side by side. Once I get both sluices cleaned out, I'll go over a couple more things that I like and don't like about each one of them. All right, so I got them both cleaned out. Here's the cons from the Bazooka, and here's the cons from the Grizzly. So you can see the Bazooka leaves you with way more concentrates. That's no surprise. I mean, the Bazooka is much bigger than the Grizzly. Not really a fair comparison when it comes to that, because this is their like mid-level model and this is one of their bigger ones. But I really like the inspection riffles on the Grizzly. I'd say the Grizzly is easier to set up for a couple reasons. For one, it's a little smaller, so it doesn't require as much to run, as much flow. Also, just because of the way the box is designed, it flattens out down here at the trap, so you have a little bit of fall built in to the sluice, whereas the Bazooka is just straight all the way. I will say though, there's another fluid bed on the market that I don't have, and I think I'll probably have one eventually because it looks really nice. Is the Green Mountain gold trap. It's clear, so you could see into the trap and see it working, which is huge. Also, the removable trap on the Green Mountain gold trap I think is pretty sweet. Once you get your sluice set up, you just pull the trap and leave the box there, so you don't have to reset it up. So I'll probably eventually end up with one of the Green Mountain traps. I like fluid beds way better than standard riffles. I have a couple of standard riffle kind of sluices. Well, one's Gold Hog, so it's got the Gold Hog matting in it, but these just seem so much easier to set up, so much easier to run. Seems like I can run way quicker, way more material. When I go out mining or prospecting, I try to pack for whatever I plan on doing. So today I knew I was just going to be running buckets of gravels through the sluices. So really all I brought with me was little tripod for my phone, for the camera, little pry bar, a tiny crevice tool. I really don't use this that much when I'm just running gravels, but in case I uncover a small crevice or something when I'm doing it, have that. A rock hammer, and then a little shovel. Classifier. This one's a 1/4 inch. I like to use 1/4 inch when I'm prospecting because it gets me down to the finer material quicker, and I'm just prospecting to try to find, you know, flood gold. If I'm out metal detecting or crevicing, I'll use a 1/2 inch classifier. And then this is just a super sluice, Garrett super sluice pan. And that's pretty much it. I mean, I had the legs for the sluice, my water filtration system, these gloves, which are really nice to have this time of year. They're insulated, waterproof, they go up to your shoulders, have a little strap to keep it on. They're nice when you're out doing a lot of work in the water when it's cold. All right, well, I got everything all packed up. Hike out of here, head home. See you guys on the cleanup.
All right, so this is the gold from the Grizzly gold trap. Let's weigh it up. Tear that out. .61. So we got 0.6 of a gram with the Grizzly. Here's the gold from the Bazooka. So 0.67 from the Bazooka. So all together. .31 grams. Not bad. I'll take it. Alright, if you liked the video, please share, like, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. And it looked like it just went down to 1.28. So either way, I'll take it. Catch you guys later.